Kory?
Let's go.
What up,
Let's go.
though?
There he is. What's going on, brother?
Who's going to fold under the pressure and who's going to step up under the pressure?
Overall, you can see that they ramped up the intensity.
How did he look as being in command of the offense and his presence with the first team?
Especially today, I'm seeing spirals going into tight coverage. He looks like a different quarterback.
Kory Woods is on the line right now. I believe he's on video, too. Kory Woods, our Woodward Sports Lions beat reporter. How you doing, Kory?
Let's go.
What up, though?
There he is. What's going on, brother?
What up, Kory?
Kory, so one of the things that we were talking about today was, Dan Campbell this morning at the press conference says, usually on day 5 we do the 2-minute drills, but we're going to do it today on day 3 because I want to see who's going to fold under the pressure and who's going to step up under the pressure. Did you get any sense of that today, or how did that go today at practice?
Well, the first couple of days, they were just pretty light, basically walk-through stuff. It was just really light. Nothing to really report. I mean, outside of saying, hey, this guy was there, this guy was not there, this guy looked healthy or whatnot. But today they definitely ramped it up a lot more than they have over the past couple of days. One thing that I really paid attention to was something that we always been talking about, that backup quarterback situation, because we've seen what happened last season when Jared Goff went down. Tim Boyle did not look like he could be a viable backup option, same with David Blau. That right now has changed. Compared to this time last year, Jared Goff and Tim Boyle both look comfortable. Really, I want to talk about Tim Boyle because he last year, I said some things about that guy, but this time compared to last year, he looked a lot more comfortable. And just overall, you can see that they ramped up the intensity. They're getting ready for pads on Monday. That's when they're going to go full pads. But you can see right now today they ramped up the intensity, and their guys are really trying to get after it, even though they were not in full pads.
Let me ask you a question. Let me go back to Jared Goff on this. One thing about the 2-minute drill, Kory, Ryan, as well as Maz, is the better the quarterback, the more commanding the quarterback, the better the team does. It's very simple. You see the quarterbacks that have the winning drives, the all-time leaders, you see those guys. Well, those guys are damn good quarterbacks because they have their confidence. Kory, what did you see out of Jared Goff when he took his turn or two? Because I know they don't want the starting guys out there too much. How did he look as being in command of the offense and his presence with the first team?
Well, you know what? I was actually talking to Loomis Brown about this today. This time, I got a reference last year to kind of bring home my point. This time last year when Jared Goff first arrived, I was saying that this guy the balls looked a little bit shaky when they were coming out of his hand. He looked a little kind of nervous out there in the pocket. This week, especially today, I'm seeing spirals throwing it into tight coverage, confidence out there, great decision making. He looks like a different quarterback, and I think that is just off of being in Detroit for a second year, familiarity with Ben Johnson. He has better weapons. I feel he thinks right now this can be a real home for him. So he's looking like a very different Jared Goff than I've seen from last time. The thing that just really shines the most about Goff compared to last year, besides the throw, is the confidence. He's walking around like this, and I said it before, he's walking around like, I am the starting quarterback of the Lions. This is my team. We are about to get after it.
Let me ask you another, because we talked to you on Wednesday, and this will be a quick follow-up. We talked Wednesday, talked about what Dan Campbell said about the team coming back in phenomenal shape. We've talked about the videos that we watched of Aiden Hutchinson and DeAndre Swift getting after it. How do those guys look with pads on in the 2-minute drill and going through? Because now that it's serious, this is how you know if guys are really in shape. What'd you see?
Swift looked really good. I didn't have a really good angle on Hutchinson, but from the stuff that I did see him in his drills, he looked very fluid and mobile. The one guy that I saw that really kind of caught my eye was Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams was never like a big or a fat guy. I mean, he was in shape. But this year, he looks like he got a little bit leaner and a hell of a lot quicker. I mean, when he was just shooting out like a rocket. So that is one guy that just really caught my eye.
So maybe that goes to what Dan Campbell was talking about in terms of using DeAndre Swift in a different way this year. Maybe he plans on using Jamal Williams as well. So I like the sound of that. 2 is better than 1, Maz.
Yeah.
Kory, go to the wide receivers for me, because there's a logjam of wide receivers. There might be a guy traded or even released on this, and this was a problem that they never had in the past. Back in the day, maybe in the 90s, but nowadays it's chock full, that wide receiver room. What'd you see today?
I saw well, obviously, I saw Jamison Williams didn't do too much. He's injured. He's walking around with the ball in his hand. But the one thing I just want to touch on this real quick because everybody was talking about before about him not being happy there. Williams was walking around camp, all smiles, very engaged throughout, not just today, but throughout the whole week, in deep conversation with DJ Chark, Amon-Ra, Josh Reynolds, just pointing out things that's out there on the field, learning concepts. Amon-Ra talked today, and he gave him a glowing review about that as well. But guys I've seen out there that was really getting out there was St. Brown on the floor, DJ Chark, and Cephas. Cephas, he's coming off of an injury, and he looks really damn good. So they have a lot of weapons potential weapons at that position. You're already talking about DJ Chark, Amon-Ra, Josh Reynolds. Then you got to go off of Quintez Cephas,
Khalif Raymond.
Khalif Raymond. Somebody's not going to get some rest. It's that.
And it's funny because look, we're only through three days of training camp. Yeah, it is a good problem to have. We're only through 3 days of training camp. I don't want to go crazy here, but you talk Jamison Williams, you talk Amon-Ra, you talk DJ Chark, Quintez Cephas. Any buzz about Josh Reynolds, how he's looking at camp? He was one of the guys that came here last year and really helped Jared Goff. He seems to be the afterthought for most of us. Let's say this. For most of us, he seems to be the afterthought.
And I said that the other day on our Twitter. I said this is a guy that you should not sleep on because, granted, the Lions did upgrade at the wide receiver position with, getting Chark, going ahead and trading up to David Williams. But Josh Reynolds is a Jared Goff guy. For most of his career, that was his quarterback. And that is something that you can't sleep on because that chemistry and that bond is already established. You see what happened when the Lions got him off of waivers last year. Jared Goff looked a lot more comfortable taking those downfield shots because he had a guy that he's comfortable getting the ball to. As far as in training camp, he looked solid. He didn't do anything so far that was really oh man, eye opening, he did that or he looked good at this. He looked very solid, but that's really about as much as I can say about him. I think next week when they really get after it with the full pass, we'll be able to have a real idea of who's doing what, especially when talking about a guy like him.
Kory Woods joining us, our Lions beat reporter. Kory, tell me about some of the injuries. I know he spoke of a couple of them. Bring us up to date and maybe something on Pascal.
Well, Pascal, they said he had a sports hernia. They said it the other day he got the surgery for that in spring. Dan didn't provide a date. I don't think he remembers the date based on how he answered.
Is he there? Is he physically there, or he's just not there?
I saw him there. Yeah, I saw him.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if I saw him today, but I know I saw him, during this week out there on the field. So yeah, he's definitely present. Devin Funches, he had a groin injury. He was still out there today though, but he didn't practice today. And Bell hurt himself yesterday in practice, so he didn't suit up today as well.
All right, Kory, bring us up to date on Hard Knocks. How much are you going to be on Hard Knocks? Because I'm looking forward to it, man. It's always a show I love. I'm really locked in this year. So how much FaceTime are you going to get?
I'll tell you this much. If I am on Hard Knocks, I will be actually surprised because those cameras are not based on any of the reporters, to my knowledge. They got a hell of a crew in there. I believe this morning in the media session, it was maybe a 9-10 man crew in there. So it is very overwhelming compared to last year with the cameras. So if I'm on there, it's probably they caught me in the background, or who knows, they may have sniped me out of nowhere. But I got the over under at plus -1.
Hey man, look, there's nothing wrong with the background. We saw Maz on Unrivaled, and he looked amazing. Let me ask you a question. You talked about Devin Funches, and we haven't brought him up because he's not necessarily a part of the key in terms of what we look at as analysts. But I think this guy could be something. I think he started off at the tight end position when he was at Michigan. He moved to the wide receiver position, and I think there's a space for him. T.J. Hawkinson's looking for somebody. Each team you go to, they got 2 tight ends. Is there a space for Devin Funches to fit in and kind of be one of those unsung guys on this year's team?
I think he definitely has a chance to make it. You got to see. Remember, the Lions drafted James Mitchell to possibly be that guy to go ahead and back up Hawkinson, but he's also coming off of an injury himself, and he was non-committal during minicamp. about whether he will be ready by the season starts. So I believe that is why they went out there and grabbed Punch so they can have some depth at that position. So I definitely think that there is a space for him to make the team. It's just all about whether he can do it. I mean, hopefully this groin injury that he's suffering right now is minor, something that he'll be able to go either tomorrow or sometime next week when they get back in full path. I believe there's a space for him there because when Hawkinson went down, I mean, they were kind of like really thin at that position as far as quality.
Kory Woods, our Lions beat reporter. Thanks so much. Check Kory out, woodwardsports.com,
like that setup,
on
man.
social media as well.
We're letting this one go, Braylon. I'm going to have to fight you somewhere else.
Hey, Kory, we'll talk to you again on Monday, okay?